All right, everyone, get ready for the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at the Singapore Student Learning Space.
SLS.
SLS. Yeah, they've got a pretty incredible info site that we're using for this. It was just updated on January 14th, 2025.
So pretty up to date.
Yeah, so we're really getting like a glimpse of what's happening right now at the cutting edge of digital learning in Singapore.
It seems like they've really put a lot of thought into this platform, just skimming through the info site already.
No, I was really impressed by the way they've organized everything.
Yeah,
They break it down into these 5 categories: organize, author, enact, assess, and administer.
that's a pretty comprehensive approach.
It is, and it kind of gives you the sense that they're trying to like walk teachers through every step of the process.
It's a roadmap for digital learning.
Exactly. And speaking of like making things easier, they have this really cool feature called Discover, and it's under the organize section.
Oh, yeah, I saw
It's
them.
essentially like a search engine just for teachers.
So instead of like spending hours, digging through websites and textbooks,
Exactly.
they can just go straight to this platform.
Yeah, it's like a one-stop shop for all those teaching and learning resources.
That could be a huge time saver for teachers.
Yeah, imagine all the time you could get back to actually like planning your lessons and being creative.
Exactly. They could focus on the things that really matter.
Right. And then right alongside Discover, they have this notify function.
Oh, yeah. That seems really useful for communication.
Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward. You can send messages system-wide to a specific class or even just to individual students.
Having that kind of like targeted communication can be really powerful.
It's true because you can give personalized feedback reminders, announcements, anything you need.
Yeah, everyone stays in the loop.
Yeah, it's like having a direct line to every single student,
Huh.
which is pretty amazing when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one that really caught my eye was plan, because who doesn't need help with organization, right?
Especially teachers, they have so much going on.
Oh, I know. And so you can actually schedule both personal and class events within the platform.
So it's like having your calendar and your to-do list all in one place.
Exactly. And that just makes things so much easier to manage.
Yeah, no more juggling multiple systems.
Right. And it seems like they've taken that idea of personalization even further with the customize function.
Oh, tell me about that one.
So you can have personalized avatars, you can adjust your display settings, like the whole platform can be tailored to your preferences.
Wow. So they're really trying to make it a comfortable experience for everyone.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder if those little touches can actually impact how students learn.
It's an interesting thought for sure.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the author category.
This is where the magic happens, right?
Yes, this is where teachers can create those really dynamic learning materials, and they have this feature called Authoring Copilot.
Oh, I was reading about that one. That sounds really innovative.
Yeah, it helps you generate different lesson components, which could save teachers a ton of time.
I wonder how intelligent it actually is. Like, can it really tailor suggestions to specific learning objectives?
That's the part that really intrigued me because it seems like there's a lot of potential for personalization there.
Imagine having like a virtual assistant that helps you design your lessons.
That's amazing. And it's not just about the content itself. You can embed different media types, you can add interactive elements, you can even gamify your lessons.
Wow, so they're really thinking outside the traditional textbook model.
Absolutely.
It's more like a multimedia learning experience.
Yeah, and I think that's where things start to get really exciting because you're moving beyond just like delivering information.
Right, it's about creating a more engaging and interactive way to learn.
Exactly. All right, so before we get too carried away, let's take a closer look at how those lessons are actually delivered within SLS.
Okay, so this is where the enact category comes in.
Yeah, and this seems to be all about bridging the gap between, creating those amazing learning materials and actually delivering them effectively in the classroom.
So it's like the practical side of things.
Exactly. And they have features for assigning modules, differentiating instructions, facilitating collaborative activities.
So they're giving teachers a lot of flexibility in how they approach their lessons.
Yeah, it's like a toolkit for creating all sorts of different learning experiences.
I'm curious to see how all of this plays out in a real classroom setting.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I think we need to take a little break for now, and when we come back, we'll delve into how SLS handles assessment and all those behind-the-scenes administrative tasks.
Sounds good. I'm ready for part 2.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, so we're back and ready to dig a little deeper into the Singapore student learning space.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how they handle things like assessment and administration.
Me too.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about creating these engaging lessons, but now it's time to look at the other side of the coin.
Right. How do you actually measure whether students are learning, and how do you manage all the logistics?
Exactly. So let's start with the assess category. One of the first things that jumped out at me was the create quizzes enhanced function.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Looks like you can create a lot of different types of quizzes,
Yeah, it's pretty versatile. You've got multiple choice, fill in the blank, even audio response questions.
which is great because you can assess different levels of understanding, you know?
Exactly. It's not just about memorizing facts.
Right. It's about applying that knowledge and thinking critically.
And it seems like SLS goes beyond just giving a grade. They have all these tools for providing detailed feedback, you know?
Oh, yeah, I saw that you can annotate student work. There are these feedback assistants that can help generate targeted feedback,
It seems like they're really emphasizing the importance of personalized feedback.
which could be so valuable for students, you know?
It is because it helps them understand their strengths and
Right.
weaknesses.
And it gives them guidance on how to improve.
And then to keep track of all that progress, they have this track progress function.
Oh, yeah, that looks really comprehensive.
It is, you can view data by topic by month, even by individual student.
Wow, so you can really get a granular view of how each student is doing,
Yeah, it's like having a personalized dashboard for every student's progress.
which can help teachers make more informed decisions about instruction.
Exactly. Speaking of personalization, I'm curious to see how SLS empowers students themselves.
Oh, that's a good point.
Hmm.
We've been talking a lot about the teacher's perspective.
Yeah, but what about the students?
Well, it seems like they haven't forgotten about them. Remember the customize function we talked about earlier?
Oh, yeah.
That's not just for teachers. Students can also personalize their learning space.
So they can choose their avatars and adjust their display setting.
Exactly. And they can manage their notifications too.
So they have some control over their learning environment.
Right. Which can make a big difference in their engagement and motivation.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about access to learning resources? Does the Discover function extend to students as well?
It does, yeah. Students can use Discover to explore a whole library of resources.
So it's not just limited to their assigned modules.
Right. They can go beyond that and delve deeper into topics that they're interested in.
That's great. So it's about fostering that love for learning.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground with assess. Let's move on to administer.
This is the behind-the-scenes stuff, right?
Yeah, all those administrative tasks that can sometimes take up so much time.
Like onboarding new students, resetting passwords, generating passcodes.
All those little things that can really add up,
Yeah, and SLS seems to have a lot of features to streamline those processes.
which frees up teachers to focus on what they do best.
Teaching.
Exactly. I noticed a detail about copyright guidelines for submission.
Oh, yeah, that's important, even in a digital learning environment.
Yeah, it emphasizes the importance of respecting intellectual property rights.
Right. It's about setting the right example for students.
Absolutely. And then besides those practical administrative functions, there's also a publish feature.
Oh, yeah, that one caught my eye, too.
It allows teachers to share their own resources with the wider SLS community.
So it's like a collaborative platform where teachers can learn from each other,
Exactly. They can share their expertise and their experience.
and it creates a sense of community.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Okay, so we've really explored the ins and outs of SLS now.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
So what are your overall impressions of the platform?
You know, I'm really impressed by how comprehensive it is, and yet it still seems very user-friendly.
I agree. It seems like they've really thought about the needs of both teachers and students.
Yeah, and they've managed to strike a good balance between functionality and engagement.
Exactly. And I think what really stands out to me is that commitment to personalized learning.
Yes, making sure that every student has the opportunity to learn in a way that works for them.
Absolutely. It's a powerful vision for the future of education.
And it makes you wonder how platforms like this will shape the way we learn in the years to come.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be involved in education.
It is for sure.
Okay, so I think we need to take a quick break to gather our thoughts.
Sounds good.
And when we come back, we'll wrap up our deep dive into SLS and consider what it all means for the future of learning. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the Singapore student learning space.
Feels like we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we've gone through pretty much every aspect of the platform now.
From organizing those resources to, crafting those engaging lessons, assessing how students are doing all those administrative tasks behind the scenes.
As we wrap things up, what are your biggest takeaways from looking at SLS?
Well, one thing that really stands out to me is how they've managed to make such a comprehensive platform,
Right?
but it still seems really user-friendly, you know?
I agree. I think they've done a great job of considering the needs of both teachers and students.
Yeah, it's not just about the technology itself, but how it can be used to actually improve the learning experience.
And I really like how they've emphasized personalized learning. you know?
Yeah, making sure that every student has the opportunity to learn at their own pace and in a way that works for them.
It's a really powerful idea, and it makes you wonder, how platforms like this might shape the future of education.
It's hard to say for sure, but I think SLS could definitely serve as a model for other countries.
It really shows what's possible when you combine thoughtful design,
Hmm.
innovative technology, and that commitment to putting students first.
Exactly.
Well, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into the Singapore student learning space.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating exploration.
If you're interested in learning more, be sure to check out their info site, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world of knowledge.